This is a 1985 Toyota Celica GTS convertible, and today we're going to get up close and personal and check everything that the Celica had to offer back in 1985. So the first thing that you'll notice is that you have that classic mid-80s Toyota design, and I really have a soft spot for these mid-80s Toyotas. So the first thing that you'll notice is that you have pop-up headlights. That's a rare thing that you'll see. Well, nowadays you don't see that anymore, and it's obviously all halogens, and I believe they're sealed beam headlights. I really like how it looks. It kind of looks like I've heard other people say it kind of looks like a Japanese Mustang. I really like it. All the lines, it's just simple but really good. I really like the little fender flares on all four corners. You have, I believe they're 14-inch alloy wheels. I really like how those look. That's a classic Celica wheel. If I had one, this is probably how I'd have it. You have fully independent front and rear suspension and four-wheel disc brakes, so that's a nice touch for 85. That's something Toyota talked about in their commercials back then a lot too.
The pit crew looks over the Celica's ventilated disc brakes, the independent suspension. They check out the Celica's single overhead cam engine and electronic fuel injection. Inside, they check the Celica's luxurious comfort. What does all this mean to you?
This is the right stuff.
Oh, what a feeling. Celica. Toyota.
And coming along the back, you have these really nice looking taillights. They just look mean in the back. I think these were only on the convertible Celicas, and you can see it's a GTS back there. And that chrome exhaust tips over there, those, I don't know, just all the little details make it a really pretty looking car, and you don't see too many cars like this out on the road anymore, and just the classic look of it. So let's get inside. So getting inside of the Celica, it's obviously a cloth interior, but it's actually held up really well for being over 30 years old. So getting inside, the seats, my first impression on those, they're really comfortable. They're actually pretty supportive, and the step-in height is actually pretty low as well. So no real complaint on that, and they are fully manual. One thing that's pretty cool is that for the lumbar, you squeeze it like you're taking someone's blood pressure, and then on the other side you have your other controls over there. But I really like the simple times of when it was cool to have a Toyota. If you look at the center over here, it's just a basic climate control system, not even real climate control, but you just have cool and warm. I kind of wish I grew up in those times that cars were just more simple like this. And you have the classic stereo, which is actually pretty cool, because usually people put in aftermarket double din units in other Celicas that I've seen, but it has a cassette player. I don't know if you can see that. That's kind of cool. And this one does have the 4-speed automatic with overdrive. And then if you open this up, it's just a little ashtray thing. And then these are the mirror controls right there. You have a regular handbrake. It would be nice if this was a manual. I wonder how much different the manuals and the automatics do. And the first button out of those two controls the door locks. So it's cool. You have electronic door locks, and the second button controls the top. And it's really cool. You have the original Toyota cloth mats, and they look really fuzzy. And another cool thing is that you have all electric windows, so this thing is obviously pretty fully loaded. I believe there was a digital option for Celicas. I know a lot of mid-80s Toyotas had digital speedometers that you could get, but the gauges are really easy to look at, and the speedometer goes up to 130, and this car has 117,000 miles. I think that's really a baby for this car. If you look at the gauges, you have a voltage meter on the left, your fuel gauge is on the right of that. On top of that is your tachometer, and there's your speedometer over there. And under the speedometer, you have your coolant temperature and your oil pressure. And over here you have your light controls, so you do have the pop-up headlights, which is pretty cool. And over here on the right you have your wiper controls, and you have cruise control, which is actually pretty, I'm impressed. You have cruise control in this car. It's not like how Toyota put it here on the wheel before, so it's just here, you set and resume and cancel and turn it on with this button over here. But I'm just kind of mumbling around because I'm just in awe, and how clean this car is. Now, I think with the top up, I don't have too much headroom. I'm about 5'8", but that's not bad at all. And now, even with the top down, you can sit in the back seat. But for someone large like me, I don't think I'd have that much room in there. But I don't think it would be drastically uncomfortable. But it's really a 4-seater car, obviously. I mean, normally, if I had this car, I'd keep the seats down all the time, but it's nice to have an emergency rear seat, and it looks like the rear windows are power too, just these little B-pillar windows down there, and you have little lights around there too, and the top actually folds up and down electrically, and that still works, and that's really cool. Under the hood of the Celica, you'll find Toyota's tried and true 22RE 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, so it should be making 116 horsepower and 140 pound-feet of torque. I don't know if it's still making that, but this is the engine that you'll get, and Toyota's also put these in their 4Runner and the pickups back in the day, and it's a really strong engine. I was actually pretty surprised that they put a 22RE in this car. I thought they put something else in it, but it's a really bulletproof engine, and you can put hundreds of thousands of miles on it. And it does have fuel injection for this one, well, electronic fuel injection, so that's actually, well, Toyota added that in the early 80s, but yeah. So driving the Celica on the road is actually pretty smooth considering it is 30 years old, but I'm kind of not really surprised. And the owner himself says he feels like it's more of a Grand Tour in his eyes than a crazy, sporty little car. But I think that's kind of true, but it really does handle like a little pocket rocket. It takes corners really flat, and I really appreciate how Toyota put in the 4-wheel independent front and rear suspension, because it really handles well. And I really think it holds its own. The engine isn't terribly underpowered since the car is only 2,900 pounds, so it is doable. But I definitely swapped the motor out for something a little bit bigger or a little bit more powerful if it was my own car. So I hope you guys enjoyed getting a glimpse of a Toyota in the 80s, and we might have another little 80s Toyota coming to stay on the channel, but that's not for certain yet. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little video of this little Celica, and thanks to Ed for letting me come check out this little gem. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Yeah, bye peeps.